we don't know if there will be a future where America has a Voting Rights Act.
It's the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act being signed into law, and we need it now more than ever.
We like to think that after 1965, voting rights were all but assured.
But what we know and what we've seen time and time again is that every single time that Native Americans flex their political power, the boot comes down. Every single time, forces come out to make it harder to vote, to limit the hours or days or the means of registration. Over and over again, what we see is the cutting out of Native voters from the electorate. And that's because Native American voters are powerful. That's because lots of voters of color are powerful. And people are fearful of the change that their perspective may bring.
I was one of those people who thought that voting didn't matter. Well, geez, our voice must matter if they're trying to silence it so bad.
The Eighth Circuit has gutted the Voting Rights Act. It said that individuals can't bring cases under the Voting Rights Act, and that only the Department of Justice can bring those cases.
How do they erase what happened? How do they take that away from my people who voted me in? Which is pretty much what it feels like this Eighth Circuit decision is doing.
This post-truth, post-fact world where people can simply assert that discrimination no longer exists. Unfortunately, we know that discrimination is incredibly active in Native communities. We know that Native Americans are discriminated against across this country. We've seen that racism firsthand, especially when they're trying to get to the ballot box. And so what we've seen over the course of especially the last decade is a real acceleration on the attack on the Voting Rights Act itself. And I think that it can't be overstated that this moment is intentional and crafted over time. The courts are restricting the ability for voters to have their fundamental right to vote protected. The consequence of gutting the Voting Rights Act, the consequence of a world in which individuals and private plaintiffs can't bring Voting Rights Act claims, is that bad actors, so a state that is not looking for change to the composition of its state legislature, whether that's a county that doesn't want to give up a county seat, a school board that doesn't want to change its curriculum, any of those people can institute a law or a rule that prevents and cuts out certain voters. Previously, you could bring a case under the Voting Rights Act to protect your rights. But that process is in danger, and if the Voting Rights Act falls, individuals are going to be cut out of the American system, and that's going to be by design.